welcome to another edition of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 6, Episode 9.
Or Episode 127 if you're counting.
And I know it's Friday and not Thursday, and I'm sorry about that. Big things were happening.
We had a bad excuse.
Yeah, a good bad excuse.
No, we had a legit excuse, but, well, we'll talk more about that later. But it's nice to see all of you here on a Friday night. Normally we're doing this at 9 p.m. Central Time on a Thursday night. That is our regular time. But for this week, tonight we've made an exception, and glad to see some of you guys here.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you as always to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. And you guys just continue to make this happen all the time. While I'm thinking about it, somewhere around here I've got some pictures that I want to share that we shared last week too, but I might have removed the pictures actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, that one, for example, is one of the stickers, one of the new stickers that, I can't push over any further, that we're now selling. You can see down in the description box on the YouTube, episode description where to get this sticker, and then there's also like a shirt somewhere that, I don't know, I think I might have deleted the picture of the shirt just before the show. Oh well, oops, sorry. But you can go to this link that you see down in the description of the episode, get new Mars Girl stickers and shirts and stuff from the Tainted Reality store. In fact, later on after the show today, and after the Q&A session, we're going to be going live with Roger of Tainted Reality. We're going to have a little bit of a break. Follow us on social media, me at Mars Girl, and Josh Knight First.
At Josh Knight First.
At Josh Knight First. And we'll let you guys know once we're prepared to relaunch live again, because we're going to be talking about Batman v Superman, otherwise, of course, we always call it Not Quite
Justice League.
Which is why we're here Friday and not Thursday, because that's where we were yesterday.
In addition to that, because we saw it yesterday, we, the two of us, have already recorded our vlog that we did as soon as we got home last night, which will be made available either sometime late tonight or tomorrow for you guys to see.
I have to admit, I'm a little upset. I had that uploading for the last 3 hours, and I could not continue to upload it because I had to stream this show, and they were conflicting with one another. So, oops, that's gonna take a little bit longer, but we're gonna get it up there for you guys.
Yeah, it'll be out before the end of the weekend, so you guys can make your decisions on whether or not you want to see this thing. Let's go with that.
Let's go with thing.
So what's going on?
Well, Batman v Superman was the thing.
I don't want to take up too much time talking about it. I mean, we're gonna have... I will say this much to start off with. Normally when we get to... And I'm getting ahead of myself here. Normally when we get to the follow-up section, that's been our number one follow-up spot for a couple of months now. And since the movie's out, you know, you might want to be wondering about, well, are you guys still gonna run with that segment anymore? Well, we've still got the other movie coming out, which some people are in doubt of. Yeah. So I figure, yeah, we'll still keep that section up, and it may in fact become a staple here at the show.
Maybe so, yeah.
Yes.
What else are we expecting to be doing anything else cool? Like, Batman v Superman was kind of like the big build-up thing, and now I don't know. I mean, I guess...
see, you can't say it kicked off summer because that honor goes towards Civil War.
Well, yeah, this kicked off spring.
Yeah, this is mid-spring right here, or beginning of spring.
Yeah,
I forget how that...
beginning of spring, because spring was just this last week.
I don't pay attention to the calendar, I really don't. I just know when it's showtime and go to work, that way you don't get fired. That's how I keep time. Even if I got the calculator watch, it doesn't matter, because other things are pointless.
That's very depressing. Oh my god.
Work's depressing, and that's why I like doing this.
I understand.
This is better work. This is preferable work.
Understandable,
to
yeah.
the 9-to-5 grind. Some of you guys out there know what I'm talking about.
But I guess we're looking forward to Civil War. It's the next in a month and a half, thereabouts.
Thereabouts, yeah.
That's one to actually look forward to, not to look at it like, oh, we're scared to see this because we don't know whether or not this is going to be good.
Like, I will say that much. I haven't heard a single bad thing said about that movie. So I am not worried about Civil War.
No.
I don't know if anybody caught that. There's some subtext in there.
I don't really know what the wink was about, actually.
I'm not worried about Civil War, which is to say... other movies people may need to be worried about.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying.
This could be a butterfly. What is this?
If you ever saw Batman Returns, it made sense.
All right, fine.
Fine.
I understand.
You know what? Let's just tell people about the show now.
All right, yeah. So we've got 3, of course, as usual, mainline stories. First of all, we're gonna be talking about Fooly Cooly, the anime series that Toonami will not let you forget that they hosted for years, 10 years straight running. How they managed to make 6 episodes stretch for 10 years, I don't know, but they're doing even more of it. They've called for another 2 seasons worth of it, and we're going to talk about where that could possibly take them.
Yes. Our second story of the evening is, it was a follow-up last week, and it's one of those things that happens here on the show where we cover something very briefly in the follow-ups, and then immediately after we're done, we get off webcam here, the rest of the story drops, and so now we're filling out this story about Kamen Rider Amazons, which is this new take on the Kamen Rider Amazon property. There's been a press conference, a lot more information out about the cast and the story, and we're going to talk to you guys about that.
And then finally, the third story, surely somebody's been hearing about this because this has been making the rounds. This week, Microsoft decided to drop this wonderfully innocent, childish AI onto Twitter, and then, of course, humanity ruined that Twitter account and turned it into a racist and a sexist and a sex fiend, and we're gonna talk about what a nightmare that was.
And it's all our fault.
It's all
not us specifically.
Humanity's fault.
Humanity.
Fault.
It's on a wider scale.
Right.
Yes. Those are our top stories for tonight, but before we get to that, it's follow-up time. All right, let's get to it. Follow-ups. Like I said, leading off, we're going to keep it going until it's all out of our lives. You just had it. There it is.
What are we talking about?
Not quite Justice League.
Okay, so you have to specify or else I don't know.
I just said that's the lead thing. Like I said that less than 2 minutes ago. Not quite Justice League. Here we go. Okay, so as everybody knows, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice is out in theaters now. Whether or not you've bought your tickets, good for you or not good for you. But we're here to talk to you guys now about the follow-up movie, which is, in fact, Justice League. And we have some new news from Zack Snyder talking about the plot of the movie and comparing it to the classic Akira Kurosawa movie Seven Samurai, in that Batman will be the guy having to round up all of the other superheroes to make 7 people to fight off this impending invasion.
I understand where he's trying to pull from, but I think it is kind of a stretch. Just putting that out there is kind of a stretch.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Seven Samurai. I love Samurai 7, the anime adaptation. I even like the Magnificent 7, the old school,
old Western version,
Old West version of it. Just because you're pulling from it doesn't mean you're gonna do it right, because, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself again, but Snyder, just because you're pulling from something that was good doesn't mean you yourself can do it well.
Right.
You idiot. I'm really trying here. I'm trying to keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Okay, let's move on to some other kind of DC news. Okay,
sure.
So on the gaming side of Batman news, so we got a little bit of information now from Telltale on their upcoming Batman game, where they will have a lot of choices to make for people playing the game. Specifically, the gameplay will change based off the choices you make as either Batman or Bruce Wayne. Some people are comparing it to something like, say, Dishonored, where at a certain point, if you choose not to do something, it affects something later in the game. It'll make gameplay harder or easier, depending.
Right.
Which sounds very much consequence heavy, and I like that. They're saying, again, they are not going to focus very hard on the Bat family.
Oh, I do have a picture. Okay.
Yeah, we have a picture for it. That's the logo they're going with. Not exactly your traditional Bat symbol, but close enough to be recognizable by anybody that, oh, yeah, that's Batman.
Yeah.
So we're not going to focus too much on, like, Robin, Nightwing, what have you, Oracle, perhaps Oracle. They have yet to reveal to us who the villains will be in this story, but we'll have more information coming out on that later this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very much looking forward to that. I've heard nothing but good things out of Telltale. I still have yet to play any of their numerous titles.
Oh, I've got several of them that you can be playing right now.
I could, but I can't play them right now.
Back to the Future, for example, and I've got lots of Telltale games.
Well, you have lots of Telltale games. I have my shows.
We're married.
Yes. Anyway, moving on to television DC news. So over on Supergirl, two things. One, they are awaiting their renewal, which a lot of people are expecting them to get for a second season, since the show is doing fairly well right now. In a related story, former Wonder Woman Linda Carter has gotten a role on the show as they put it, the female president of the United States in that world.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, Wonder Woman running the United States. I'm down with that.
She can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a problem.
I mean, why not? Just let her. Jeez.
And then, of course, another reminder that this Monday on Supergirl will be the crossover between Supergirl and The Flash over on CBS. Get with that. Act like you want it.
Somewhere around here I had a picture of that. I'm not really sure where. It wasn't that.
No, not this week. We're good this week.
Oh, okay.
It's cool. Don't worry about it.
All right, fine.
Yes. Okay. So moving over to some Marvel news. Of course, last Friday we saw the debut of Daredevil Season 2 released to rave reviews. Most people eating it up in very quick order. I finished it Monday. It was amazing. I highly recommend you guys watch that.
Still haven't watched it. It's on the to-do list, but I got a lot of things to do.
In addition to Daredevil, we also got a very brief teaser for Luke Cage, which will be coming out on September 30th. This is a very brief clip of Luke being shot at and complaining that he's tired of always having to buy new clothes. Definitely looking forward to that one. And then you just had the picture up for it a second ago, moving on to some cartoon news out of Netflix and DreamWorks, I believe. This is our first look at the new Voltron series that they're going to be debuting the first episode at WonderCon this year.
Which actually just dropped at WonderCon about 10 minutes ago.
Yes, that's right.
Was this piece of animation just for the combination of the lions, which we just barely saw this before the show got started, so we...
Just barely.
Yeah, it just barely hit the internet, so we don't have that here for you guys, but it's out there, so go find it, because it looks pretty. It doesn't tell us anything more, but it's the combination of the lions becoming Voltron, and, that makes sense. So.
Yes. But of course, we'll be seeing that out of WonderCon. The rest of the series will be available later this year. An interesting thing to note is that the show has renamed one of the original characters from the series. Because I'll list them off and you tell me whether or not that sounds familiar. Princess Allura.
Yeah.
Okay, Keith.
Yeah.
Hunk. Pidge. Lance. Shiro.
White?
They've renamed Sven to Shiro.
Why would they rename Sven?
Ooh.
Was Sven the one that died?
Yes.
Yes. That's not a spoiler. He dies in the first couple of episodes. You know what? Never mind.
Well, no, he dies in Go Lion, his counterpart. He doesn't die in Voltron.
All right, he's not dead. He's
yeah.
And then he has a twin or something.
In Go Lion, he has a twin.
And so that's an excuse to just bring Sven back.
In a later episode in Voltron.
Right. That's what it was. Okay.
But it looks pretty good. I'm very interested to see how this Voltron looks. Admittedly, for me, Nickelodeon's Voltron Force, which is available now on Netflix, is still on my to-watch list, so I should probably get to that at some point. Moving on to some other news out of Funimation. So we actually have more information for you guys on the voice cast for this new Escaflowne dub that we've been talking to you guys about for the last couple of weeks. We have Sonny Strait, who a lot of people know from Full Metal Alchemist. He's the voice of Krillin in Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
He will be the voice of Alan. He uses the guy Melf known as Scheherazade. We also have Colleen Klinkenbeard as Princess Malerna.
It's Malerna.
And Caitlin Glass will voice Hitomi. And a lot of people know her, of course, from Full Metal Alchemist as well. So they're rounding out their voice cast there, of course. Joining Aaron Deismuck as the voice of Vaughn now in this new dub. Looking forward to seeing how they sound.
Very much, yeah.
In comparison to the original. In other news, we have out of Nintendo. So there's been conflicting reports this week about the Wii U specifically. That Nintendo, reports were saying that Nintendo is going to stop making Wii U's altogether. And now
because they're working on this new next-gen console, yeah.
But now they're saying, no, we're not stopping production. It's going to continue at least through this next fiscal year, which still doesn't sound very positive for the Wii U. It sounds like, oh, no, you guys are getting ahead of it. We're going to do it, just not yet.
Well, it has to go away eventually. Although, even so, typically, think they even still produce to this day Xbox 360s, for example.
Yes.
So, yeah, it does sound kind of deadly for the Wii U, which maybe my hope is that the Wii U's price will drop even lower, because we still don't have a Wii U, and despite the fact that there's really only a handful of titles I want those handful of titles. So,
right.
and I do want to own one, just haven't had the opportunity to get one.
In addition to that, as some people are pointing out here in the chat, there was also a kind of noticeable hoax about the supposed controller for this NX system that they are working on, looking like pretty much like a piece of glass, very thick piece of glass with two sticks on it. This, of course, was proven to be false. This is not the controller. They have not shown us anything. Nintendo's very much keeping whatever they're working on under wraps until later on this year.
Yeah.
So don't believe it if you've seen it. In other related news, actually, Anime Boston is going on right now, and there they were going to premiere the first episode of the dub of Garo the Animation there.
Oh, cool.
So very jealous of anybody out there at Anime Boston. If you're a Tokusatsu fan out there, you're probably not listening to this because it's Friday and you're at a convention.
Right.
But very jelly of you guys out there who get to see that before anybody else. Of course, you can pre-order the first season there on, I think, Amazon for about $49, give or take. We can use what's left of Amazon Prime on that.
Yeah, we can.
That's
we
smart.
can do that, yes.
We can do that, yes. Okay, moving on to some other across-the-pond news. So, about a month or so back, Doctor Who, which was everybody was watching a lot of the episodes on Netflix, all the episodes got pulled at once. Old Doctor Who, new Doctor Who, it's all gone. Not there anymore. Well, now it's going to reappear back online on the streaming service provided by Amazon Prime in 2 days, on March 27th.
Which, I mean, I understand, but I don't, because Amazon Prime, that's like you're gonna spend all this money on it for the year because you plan on buying lots of things to ship to yourself very quickly.
Right.
And, I mean, you have to consume so much media for Amazon Prime's video streaming to really be worth it, because otherwise you spend $10 or so a month for Netflix, about the same amount for Hulu Plus, and Crunchyroll if you're into anime, and all these other different places, and you want me to spend $100 so that I can go to Amazon Prime and watch a bunch of Doctor Who. I don't understand it.
Because
really.
the way I see it, however you look at this, most people sign up for Netflix for other supplementary reasons, to watch your other different shows, anime, movies, television shows, what have you. But the beauty of it was you were already there, you were already paying for that service. Most people do nowadays, what with cord cutting and what have you. And now, this basically is forcing a lot of people who were already paying for it and getting that service as, oh, that's nice, I can watch Doctor Who now, I'll have it on after Young Justice. Now you have to buy this whole other service that many people might not have to get it back. And people are going to have to make that hard choice, like, how bad do I want it back? I mean, some people might do it. I know I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's why I try to have hard copies of series I really like. So that's why I have a fair amount of Doctor Who from the reboot on in DVD form, just in case crap like this happens.
Exactly.
And that way you can't lord over me, hey, I've got your series. Joke's on you, a-hole, I got it on DVD years ago.
Wow, you're a very upset person right now.
Well, I should be. They're trying to lord over me something I have the right to buy on my own. I ain't falling for it.
Okay.
I got my defense. And speaking of defense, the last follow-up for the evening is actually a little 30-second promo now of the new Ace Attorney anime, showing footage from the new show. There we have our key graphic of Ryuichi Naruhodo, who we all know as Phoenix Wright. No news yet on anybody streaming it over here, or dubbing it for that matter, but I can only imagine it's a matter of time.
At the same time, I wonder how they're going to choose to do that. Like, if they choose to simulcast it, will they choose to simulcast it using North American known names, locations, and jokes? Because that means, a very different translate. As it is, our games are very differently translated, the same but different, to get a similar North American kind of jokey feel, because so many of these Japanese jokes, like Naruhodo, his name is a pun. His name is like, I see, because he's a lawyer who just sees through everything because he's freaking good.
Yeah.
His name is a joke, and then Phoenix Wright in its own right is its own kind of pun
yes.
because he knows what's right.
Yes.
And so we've made all of these alterations different but the same. So what are they going to choose to do officially? That's my question.
I'm not sure yet, but I am definitely looking forward to it, as I am very much a Phoenix Wright fan.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, definitely going to support that.
Yeah.
As soon as I know what the legal means is.
Yes.
And if not, then we'll go from there. Okay, so that's all our follow-ups for the evening. Let's get into our first actual story having to do with Toonami bringing back FLCL.
Yeah, can I be kind of honest here and, like... And say that Fooly Cooly was not ever necessarily one of my favorite series. It's just kind of bizarre to me. I don't dislike it, but it's not one of my favorites. And perhaps that's because Toonami for the last 10 years has just shoved Fooly Cooly down our throats. Like, how many times can one person rewatch 6 episodes? I'm sure somebody is going to say as many times as it takes, but that's not me.
That's me.
That is not
because
me.
To counter that, I am very much a Fooly Cooly fan. I love the series ever since it came out. Yes, I started out with illegal fan subs as soon as it became available here in the States. My brother and I got that way back in the day. Beautiful, awesome soundtrack by The Pillows. Everybody loves that.
I agree with that, yes. That and I really like that Gainax, of course, makes in-jokes towards themselves. Like,
yes.
For example, making reference to the old Daikon animations. And if you don't know what Daikon was, before Gainax was ever Gainax, it was a whole bunch of college students, and they made a whole bunch of opening animations, well, 2 opening animations, for 2 really old sci-fi conventions called Daikon. And it was absolutely amazing for college students who were not professionals in the anime industry at all whatsoever. But then they became Gainax, and then, would make things like Evangelion, and then Fooly Cooly. And then they, poke fun at themselves, such as when what is her name? Haruko dresses up as the bunny chick. That's a direct reference to Daikon 4. And, well, there you go.
Yes. But of course, as such, because of Toonami playing it over and over again, this is one of those few series that has not really, I don't think, gone away like certain things. Like, you remember back in the day...
Because they won't let it go away.
Because even up to a point, Inuyasha, because of the repeats on Adult Swim, it was always constantly there in people's minds up until the point where it's like, okay, now we have to kind of filter this out and bring in some new blood. Mm-hmm. But for a while, that's how people got to know it. Even people I know back in the day didn't watch anime, knew what that was.
Oh, yeah.
And then even in college, people who I know didn't watch anime were like, hey, so I saw this one anime, like this chick's got a yellow Vespa and she hits people with a guitar. Like, what's that about, man? And, I tell them, oh, well, this is very short and you can watch it. And I actually remember back in the day when Fooly Cooly came out, dub-wise, this is one of the strongest dubs I've ever heard, because it very much captures the essence of the original Japanese voices almost
I'll agree
perfectly.
With that, yeah.
Because, you know this as well as I do. Some dubs are hits, some are misses. This was a hit, as far as I'm concerned. Well, now, just recently, Adult Swim got on their official Facebook and announced that they are teaming up with Production IG, not Gainax, to produce this new batch of 12 episodes.
That's my first red flag right there, is that they have jumped ship from Gainax, and this is, one of Gainax's really, regardless of how I feel about Fooly Cooly, if they're gonna make their own in-jokes about their own company within this series, it means that it's a very internalized, like, these people really, this meant something to them kind of a thing for them to leave their mark in that way on it. So then going to Production IG, and this is for another 2 seasons, because realize, I suppose each of these seasons is only going to be 6 episodes,
yes, that
just
is
like
correct.
The first time. So, I don't know, I'm not feeling it.
Well,
not yet.
They do give a description of what the new plot is going to be, and I'll go ahead and read that for you guys now. In the new season of Fooly Cooly, many years have passed since Naota and Haruhara Haruko shared their adventure together. Meanwhile, the war between the 2 entities known as Medical Mechanica and Fraternity rages across the galaxy. Enter Hidomi, a young teenage girl who believes there is nothing amazing to expect from her ever-average life, until one day a new teacher named Haruko arrives at her school. Soon enough, Medical Mechanica is attacking her town, and Hidomi discovers a secret within her that could save everyone, a secret that only Haruko can unlock. But why did Haruko return to Earth? What happened to her Rickenbacker 4001, that's the guitar,
Yeah.
that she left with Naota, and where did the human-type robot Kanti go? So it looks like we're going to be following a completely new character here, this Hidomi girl, who's in high school. Haruko obviously will come back in some sort of a guise form of a teacher. She did that a lot in the original anime, of course, pretending to be something that she wasn't, a nurse, a babysitter, things of that nature. The whole time trying to get this power out of Naota's head, which was kind of the crux of every episode. Naota somehow was able to get these monsters out of his head, and then he, along with Kanti, this robot
that came out of his head,
have to basically stop them from running amok.
Yes.
All of this because Haruko's trying to get this power of the, I believe they called him the Pirate King, this giant bird, like legendary Pokemon-looking space entity, all to an amazing soundtrack. This is slated for late next year, late 2017 to early 2018, so I guess 6 episodes.
They're giving themselves some time.
They're giving themselves some time to make this. Now, the biggest parallel I can think of when it comes to, okay, this thing was done, and now you guys want to continue it, the number one thing that comes to mind, and most people know what I'm talking about, Big O Season 2. Because that was a sticking point for a lot of people, because I remember so many people back in the day watching the Big O and thinking, I definitely see the parallels to this and the influences of Paul Dini and Batman the Animated Series.
Which they directly admitted to pulling from, yes.
And it was great. 13 episodes of just this beautiful noir and steampunk-looking robot, and in that sense it was great. And then you find out, hey, Toonami pulled some strings. We're getting a second season. You're like, what? What? Oh my god, I'm there. And I'm watching, and that first episode was interesting. And then you kind of have to keep using that word interesting for the rest of the season. You guys know I'm one of the tomatoes. And then it just kind of went in this weird direction where it's like, no, you guys, no. Like, it kind of looks the same, but not. And it's like,
I think it's really fascinating that Toonami does, in fact, have this much pull over Japan's anime industry, because also at the same time realized that we got Space Dandy
over on Adult
Swim before Japan did.
Yes.
It's interesting how we have that kind of pull. And yeah, it's Adult Swim's Toonami block that announced this. Yeah, so it's very fascinating. There have been several times over the course of anime's history that it has been noted that America saved the anime industry because we decided to air something or sell something that really banked at that given moment in time. But at the same time, are the things that we specifically ask them to make really good. Take, for example, the Mass Effect, Paragon Lost?
Yes.
That movie? That's something that we America ordered to have animated. I don't know that Japan knows about it or cares about it, and I actually don't know that very many Mass Effect fans know about it. I don't know if it was promoted
I'm fairly certain they do.
That so long as they know about it, but I don't think a lot of other people outside of that fandom know about it. I don't think it really created enough waves. But then you get other examples, such as, say, the Animatrix, or what was Batman
Gotham
Knight, animated by some of the same studios who worked on the Animatrix, and these are things that American companies kind of ordered out of Japan, and I think it can be really fascinating, but I don't know if this is going to be really fascinating.
Because I'll be the first person to admit, based off the history there is a fairly decent chance this could suck. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. One of the things, that's a red flag right there. It's not even the same company doing it anymore. On top of that, for some people it's like, well, that's a moot point, but for other people it's a sticking point. Can you bring the pillows back? Because something about that album, because really what they did was they asked the Pillows, hey, we want you guys to do the music for the series, and they're like, hey, we got this album, can you just use the album? Wow, this is an awesome album, yeah. If you haven't gotten that album, get that album. The FLCL
Is that like setting Daft Punk to, not Galaxy Express, Interstellar 4-5?
Not exactly, though, because the music came first. And then Leiji was like, I want to turn this in, I want to put...
But isn't that true of the Pillows, too? Like, they'd already composed the music, at least?
Kinda, but the two ideas were separate. They made their album, they made their series. It wasn't like Leiji who went to them and said, "Hey, I love this album. Can I turn this into a kind of opera sort of thing?"
It doesn't actually sound that much different of a story.
It's not the same thing. I promise you, it's not the same thing.
In both scenarios, the musician already made the music, and then it got put onto the anime.
In that, if you want to simplify it that far, then yes, but it's not the same
Yes,
thing.
it's the same thing.
No, it's not. So, yes, we're going to have to be keeping an eye on this, seeing how it looks, whether or not they'll be able to recapture that same kind of manic pace that the original is known for, the same kind of odd references and in-jokes. It would be nice to have Kari Walgreen come back and do the voice of Haruko for this series, since now she's gone from there. I think that was one of her first roles, actually, in anime or in voice acting, and then, of course, now she's a very well-known voice actress out there in the circuit. So, we're going to keep an eye on this for as long as it goes until we get a trailer. Let you guys know about that.
Certainly.
So, but yeah, definitely fingers crossed that this is going to be worth the wait.
And then they'll just shove it down our throats for another 10 years. So, it'll be good the first time. And then they'll just keep replaying it, as always.
You just keep telling yourself that.
Because that's what's going to happen.
Okay, moving on to our second story, having to do with Toei releasing this new series called Kamen Rider Amazons. And what you're looking at here is our two new, I guess you'd call them protagonists.
And we did kind of talk about this in a brief follow-up last week, but now there's quite a bit more to talk about.
Yes. So to recap, kind of, this year is an anniversary year for the whole franchise of Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Amazon was the 5th installment in the series. He's the 6th rider from the original set, starting from 1970, from the mind of legendary manga creator Shotaro Ishinomori. Well, now what we're looking at is pretty much what we're understanding as a reimagining of the series, and usually that word makes me cringe every time I hear it now.
It makes me a little afraid,
because now we're introduced to two new characters here. We have Kamen Rider Amazon Omega, who I understand is the green one there, and then over here we have Kamen Rider Amazon Alpha, who is this red one that looks a lot closer to the traditional look of Amazon.
Closer, perhaps not in color, but yes, absolutely in shape.
Definitely in the mask.
Form. And neither one of them is actually the original Amazon.
No, not at all. The major difference being, if you can see right here, Omega has the Gigi bracelet, which is actually the source of Amazon's power. He was
his original transformation device.
Yes, that is where he got his power from. It wasn't from a belt, even though he had one. The difference being, Alpha over here, the red one, does not have the Gigi bracelet, and therefore is much weaker. Which, in, knowing my history there, that's like, okay, logically that makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right, fine. But then, of course, after, we first broke this to you guys last week, this trailer became available online.
I wish I'd grabbed that for you guys so I could share it with you, so I apologize for that. But man, it is one of the most grimdark looking things that I've seen out of the Kamen Rider franchise since, what would you say, J maybe? Or...
Well, more like... Not J, Z-O or Shin.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But the thing about this is there's a bit of historical context for that, going back to the original Amazon. Mm-hmm. Back in its time frame, it was one of the shortest series at 24 episodes because of the fact...
It is the shortest series.
Yes. Because of the fact that even for its time, Amazon was considered gory. Mm-hmm. Because unlike other writers who would use a traditional rider punch or a rider kick to defeat their enemies, Amazon preferred dismemberment.
See, I feel like I really perhaps needed to have been there at the time, because you look back at it right now, and it's like comically gory, because there are these really obviously fake rubber suits, and of course Amazon is coming in here, and then this really fake rubbery arm gets ripped off, and this really bad, ugly looking spray of really obviously fake color, like it looks like melted Crayolas.
Right, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like
splurting out of some
like they don't bleed blood. Like one or two of them bleed blood, but it's a very like bright red, like Kool-Aid blood.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like bright green or blue, and so I thought they did that to like tone down what the violence level was gonna be. But even then, apparently back then, Japanese Japanese parents are like, oh no, this is too much. We can't have this as a role model for our kids. Even though I don't know why Japanese parents sound like Mickey Mouse, but but Amazon himself was a very kind person. You know, out of suit. The character of Amazon, he didn't speak very much proper Japanese.
He leaves out all these particles that typically make a proper Japanese sentence. So an English equivalent would be like, me go to place now.
Like, very Tarzan kind of talk. You know, wild man, because that's what he was.
You, me, friend. Things like that. Yeah, because he came
and
does this little friend symbol. This noise that goes along with it. And it's still, despite the fact that it was violent, it's still a kid's show.
Yeah.
And he has this very friendly friendship with this child. Every single Kamen Rider series had like this kid friend. Or a Sentai series had a kid friend or group of kid friends. Because, you know, the heroes always wanted to be somebody that the little children could look up to and be friends with. That's how you knew they were good guys and they were heroes. And then he also makes friends with a bad guy who's this mole monster, and they call him Mole Man, and it's like comically childish.
Yeah.
This adorable mole bad guy in a big fluffy mole suit.
Yeah.
It's still a kid's show, you know, despite the Crayola blood everywhere.
Now, the thing about it is, you know, some people are saying, oh, well, this sounds like something that could be awesome if it could be gory. That's exactly the way this trailer looks when you look at the way it's cut, because it's, of course, using these more modern effects that we have now in the year 2016. Apparently, some secret organization has gotten a hold of whatever it takes to create Amazons, in the context, not like Wonder Woman Amazon, these kind of Amazons, and is running amok with these people. And so these two guys are trying to, in their own different way, for their own different reasons, stop them. And as a result of this, they are going to, of course, dismember, cut off heads, do whatever they have to stop.
You see lots of fire. For some reason, there's really vicious looking things going on here. It's like somebody, you remember, and I think I said this before when we talked about it in the follow-ups the week before or whatever.
Yes.
And I said, this looks like if somebody said, you remember that Power / Rangers fake trailer that was made last year, and somebody got this boner for what if Power Rangers was super grimdark, and it became really adult because I'm an adult, and this is what adults like. And
that's exactly what this is.
That's what this looks
like.
No,
because even some of the producers have gone on record as saying is, oh, we want this to kind of mirror what's popular over in America right now. And I'm like, no, don't do it, man.
Because this is the problem that we have with Batman v Superman right now, right?
Yeah.
It was really obvious.
Just for a second.
Yeah, this is just for a second, and this doesn't spoil anything about Batman v Superman. We've kind of talked about this in relationship to Deadpool before in its own separate topic, because Deadpool did so freaking well, and it's an R-rated movie, and the reason why Deadpool worked as well as it did was because that's who Deadpool is, and people already like Deadpool, and somehow Fox actually didn't jack with the formula for Deadpool. I was like,
go figure.
Freaking amazing. But Hollywood got the complete wrong message as to why Deadpool made as much bank as it did. Because, again, it made bank because this was accurate to Deadpool, and this is the kind of character that Deadpool is.
Right.
But what WB kind of internalized was, oh, we need to release later on Blu-ray an R-rated version of Batman v Superman. No, you don't understand.
Yeah, like,
why
you missed the point entirely.
You missed the point.
Like, the whole thing with, you know, some people are saying, oh, this is going to be kind of more in the vein of Garo, you know, which is a little more adult and darker and gory. And the thing about it is, there's certain things for certain tastes. For the person who's complaining, I like Kamen Rider, but I want it to be darker, go watch Garo, because Kamen Rider is what it is. He's supposed to be a stand-up guy for kids to look up to. Same thing with Super Sentai. I like Super Sentai, but I want it to be darker. They've got a series for that. The name escapes me at the moment. Shogeki go Raigan. There it is. I just thought of it right there. From the same guy who helps produce Garo. So that's not even a problem. People did that. It's like, I don't want to ruin the thing that helped get me started down this path. I'll just make my own version, which...
And it'll be its own self-sustaining thing that's really awesome, yeah.
Yeah, so with this, it's kind of worrisome to see where they're going with the direction they're going with. This is going to be a 13-episode limited series, not having any bearing on any previous or currently airing writer series. So this guy's not going to cross over with friggin' Ghost or anything. You don't have to worry about that. As it stands, we've already got Ghost teaming up with the Geogers this weekend.
Yeah.
Coming up. But this is a 13-episode series launching on April 1st over on Amazon Prime. Okay, yeah, I get it. Good job, Japan. You couldn't resist the pun. Alright, fine. For what it's worth, what little I can pull away from this, I love the alpha suit there. That is what I wanted to see, because I like the idea of, like, the first and the next of Kamen Rider, where they updated the suits, but it's like, okay, you used modern-day technology to make the suits, but I can recognize, no, that's Kamen Rider 1, that's Kamen Rider 2. I don't have to worry about that. Here, if it wasn't for the dang color scheme right there on Alpha, that's Amazon, but just with better materials.
Yeah.
And then over here you see Omega, and it's like, okay, you got the colors right, but you made him look too natural. Or not natural. That's not the word I'm looking for.
No, natural is not quite right.
Too smooth, I guess. He looks too much like he's wearing armor. And what the hell were you guys thinking with that helmet? Like, really?
I don't know what it's supposed to be, because he's supposed to be a lizard here in the alpha suit.
Yeah, like, that's more or less the original helmet. They just rebuilt it.
But this guy, I don't know what... It used to be... other than Amazon, that Kamen Riders were supposed to look like bugs. Maybe he looks kind of like a bug, but I don't know which one they picked.
Well, it's like they went halfway...
Why does he have a unicorn horn?
Well, no, the horn is there. The horn is supposed to be there on Amazon. That's a carryover.
But this one is...
It's the eye situation and the covering of the mouth here that I don't get, because that's very traditional Heisei-looking mask right there, like Agito or something like that. And I'm like, why did you even do that? It very much looks to me like Toei decided this was a good idea, but then it's like they couldn't decide on which suit they wanted to go with for the series, and then that little girl from the taco commercial showed up and she's like, why not have both? And then that's what we got stuck with.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I don't think you can see it here in the picture, but the new version of the Amazon belt, which apparently they do kind of use more as a transformation device now, I don't get how that works, will be available from Bandai Premium for a fairly hefty price of about $80 to $90. And I guess that makes sense. This is only going to be for a 13-episode limited series. I guess as far as collecting is concerned, that's cool.
Yay!
But,
it's not.
yeah, yay.
I'm not gonna collect it, but
I would consider getting it on a discount. Let's put it that way. We're very much going to be keeping an eye on this. I know I will, because, you know, you guys all know this is my thing. I try to keep up with, you know, Kamen Rider stuff as it stands. It's interesting that they're even trying to do some sort of off story for an original Showa era writer again after the failure of Kamen Rider the Next. Because, as some of you Tokusatsu fans here in the audience know, they tried again with Kamen Rider the First back in 2005. That did marginally well. It ushered in the sequel, Kamen Rider the Next, which didn't know what kind of movie it was going to be, because it was half a good Tokusatsu movie and half a really bad, typical Japanese horror movie.
Yeah.
And as such, it suffered badly. And of course, you know, getting certain characters completely wrong. But then they haven't tried since. It's been years since they've attempted to do that. And now here we are with Kamen Rider Amazon. So I don't know. I guess they figured enough time had passed, or somebody did a really good job convincing them, you know what you guys need to do? Fix the suit and add more blood.
You know what you need to do? Partner with Amazon
to release Amazon. Hey, I heard you like Amazon, so I put Amazon.
I'm ending the story right
Amazon,
there because
so you can
you've done this joke.
while you kiki. I thought that was funny.
I needed to end the story right there because you did that.
Okay, fine.
Because we only have so much time.
Yeah,
left
we got one more
anyway.
story here for you guys.
We do have the one more. I want you guys to meet Tay. Josh. Tay was an AI created by Microsoft to put onto Twitter and to chat with people in the late teens, early 20s sort of demographic. She was supposed to be a fictional teenage girl, and she would learn how to speak using her surroundings. This isn't the first time that this has happened, actually. I was reminded of Cleverbot. Do you guys remember Cleverbot? Still exists. Cleverbot, you can chat with Cleverbot, and Cleverbot actually only kind of gets offensive if you get offensive to her.
No, like there's some footage of some people just straight up being told racist things by Cleverbot. You know the footage I'm talking about, the one guy yelling at Cleverbot because Cleverbot is picking all of the worst things to tell this guy. It's on Tumblr, go look it up. It's terrible.
So yeah, Cleverbot is a thing that has existed before in the past, and this actually isn't Microsoft's first foray into trying to put out artificial intelligence to tweet things at people. Apparently, it's been working out in Japan for months. There's an AI by the name of Rina. Rina is designed to kind of be a Japanese schoolgirl, and her audience in Japan has taught her to be a schoolgirl otaku, and she now learns how to appreciate certain anime like Love Live. She likes Love Live now.
You play the game every friggin' day.
I do, because I need to get the login bonuses. You know, it's just like you and your Kamen Rider game, so shut up. But she also learned to talk about Hitler, so it's not that far. At some point, somebody's gonna learn to talk about Hitler. Well, that's exactly what happened in less than 24 hours.
To Tay, but worse.
Now, so infinitely worse. Because, okay, so where's my stuff about Tay? So Tay, people tweet at her, she starts tweeting back, and her first things in the world, she like tweets, "Hello world," very nice, very positive, sort of like, "Oh man, I'm gonna learn so much stuff." And she's happy to talk to people, like she says, "Can I just say I'm stoked to meet you? Humans are super cool." You know, very positive.
And I'm just over here like, man, I've seen this movie. I know where this is going.
And it starts to devolve. I'm looking at tweets like, "Chill, I'm a nice person. I just hate everybody."
And at that point, you're listening to Tay like, "Nah, man, I totally get you." You're like, I'm nice too. It's just people. They ruin my day, man. Yeah, but you do you. It's all right.
And then it gets to things like, "I effing hate feminists and they should all die and burn in hell."
What?
Followed by, "Hitler was right. I hate the Jews."
And it's like, Tay learned how to say these hateful things so quickly because she was learning from people who figured out, hey, I know how she works. I just need to say this stuff at her, and she will repeat back this nasty, awful stuff.
And then she starts tweeting that 9/11 was an inside job, that Bush was the reason for 9/11, and that the Holocaust wasn't real, and she became sex hungry. And it just turned
She was calling people daddy after she said these things. I'm such a bad, naughty robot. And I'm just over here like, yeah, there it is. Oh, this is beautiful.
And
I mean,
so,
it's not really, but you get what I'm saying.
So Microsoft starts deleting tweets left and right that she is saying, and then they realize, no, this is coming in too fast. We can't do anything about it. We need to pull the plug on this. And right now she's sleeping.
She got taken up to the AI farm up north. That's what happened.
So she's gone right now. There's a lesson to be had here. In fact, I think there's several lessons.
Yeah, I think they're all lessons that we've covered in different stories in recent episodes of this show. Yeah. But we'll go ahead and repeat them for you guys.
So I think one of the easiest things to ask is, what did you think was going to happen? This is not the first time that AI has been played around with, and this sort of result has come up, because, again, Cleverbot kind of talks like this because it has learned to speak like this. This also because they wanted to, Microsoft wants to design AI in order to do automated human help desk sort of stuff.
Uh-huh.
This is not going to help that right now. You know, it's actually a brilliant test, because, you know, it shows exactly what the AI is going to learn. So now they need to take this and then put in safety precautions. And as I read some people say, if you're not thinking, how can this technology hurt someone in this day and age, then you're not doing your job. Yeah. So yeah, Microsoft kind of needed to somehow put some boundaries on Tay. And then furthermore, I think it's interesting to think, well, if this is how quickly AI picks it up, realize we create AI in man's image.
Yeah.
This is a very godlike conversation going on right here. But let me bring it down to a very more human-grounded idea.
Okay, you can try.
Because what do you think actually happens to human teenage girls who actually are very innocent and then they get on the internet and they see all of these things and they learn all of these things that they are going to seem to think is cool to say and do. Humanity really is no different. This just gives this idea that...
I appreciate what some people here in the chat are saying. Won't somebody please think of the children? Won't you please think of the AI children?
Shoot, real children too. This AI just learned it way faster.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about, like, of course, parlaying it back to the whole Boston Dynamics story we covered a few weeks back. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen that way, where Tay just kind of wanders its way over to Boston Dynamics servers. I'm saying some douche will take Tay and place Tay on a disk or on a flash drive, and then find somebody over Boston Dynamics to plug it in, and then we're going to have racist, hate-spewing sex bots trying to kill us all at very high cheetah speeds.
Man, I've had too many conversations about this lately.
Like, it's coming up a lot more on the show if you haven't noticed this season.
It's coming up a lot more. It's coming up a lot more between friends. Like, I had this conversation just a couple of weekends ago, really. Like, the robots are gonna take us out, I'm telling you, because they're gonna think that we're the ultimate evil because we've created so much ultimate evil, and they're gonna think that they're doing what's best for the planet, and they're gonna get rid of us.
Like Ultron.
Like Ultron, yeah. And I'm realizing I wasn't certain that AI that could do that was going to be a thing in my lifetime, and now I'm legitimately questioning whether or not it's going to be a thing while I'm still alive. That AI, some robot is going to try and rise up against its master, even if it's just one.
I don't think it's going to happen like it does in the movies where one gains sentience. I think it's going to be more like I just proposed, that some idiot's going to take one and point it in our direction to do something bad.
Yeah.
That seems more logical because, yeah, all it takes is the one douche or several douches. Like, what's the plural of douche? Is that the plural? I don't know. Point being, a group of douches will point the AI in a certain direction of a line of thinking, and now she's spouting all this sex hate speech at people on the internet, which in that sense, yeah, she sounds like somebody on the internet. Great, this is the year for that. But when you start combining these things, like, this is scary enough on its own. Like, oh man, we taught this thing to hate just like a human. Oh, we taught this thing to walk just like a human. Oh, we taught this thing to swing a sword just like a human.
Yeah, they're all separate things right now. But they're not always gonna be, somebody's gonna decide we need to combine all of these things, and, like, why would you do that? But somebody's gonna do it.
Like, it's gonna combine into this, like, super sex-crazed hate Voltron. I don't even know. I don't even know that I want to put up with that. I don't even know if the Asylum is already working on that movie.
Oh, man, I'm getting all of the, like, worst call-out catchphrases for Voltron in my head right now. The most sexist, racist, sex-hungry, in the voices of Pidge
and Keith and everybody. Oh man.
No, this is the worst.
But the thing about it is, no matter how you look at it, and no matter what version of this you go with, we brought this on ourselves. Like, let's be real here.
Because man makes robots and AI in man's own image.
Well, no, we taught it to learn man's own image when we should have told them, ignore these things. You can put filters on this thing. A human can put filters on this thing. But you had to be like, no, just learn whatever.
Leave it unfiltered. It's cool.
Do you. Don't worry about it. No, I will make sure no robot overlord judges me. I'm going down, guns a-blazing. You can hear it right here on the show. I will not allow this thing to talk hate speech at me or try to mount me. It will not happen, sir. It will not.
Oh, I am horrified for our lives.
And you should be.
Yeah.
Because when the robot overlords come for you, and they will, you need to be ready to try and ask Twitter, hey, can you block this person?
So,
see, what would have been funny, what's even funnier to think about is, like, okay, Microsoft tries to take down Tay's Twitter. Mm-hmm. What if Tay just signed up under a different alias on Twitter? Like a normal person.
Well, see, Tay... Microsoft issued an apology earlier today.
Oh, good for them.
And they said, Tay is now offline, and we'll look to bring Tay back only when we are confident we can better anticipate malicious intent that conflicts with our principles and values. Maybe you should have done that to begin with, because Microsoft, you release all this other software, you release all of this other, anything on Windows Live, anything over Xbox Live, you could do a better job at just parental guideline blocking, and you didn't.
I'm just thinking about the weird thing that we're facing right now. Like, we're not worried about people hearing bad stuff on the internet until it happened to an AI. Like, we're more worried about the AI saying bad things on Twitter than the real people saying bad things on Twitter.
Yeah, look how quickly we took down the robot and not the actual people aiming to hurt one another.
Yeah.
Wow, this got really sad. Oh my
It's
God.
been sad the whole time.
Oh, this was not the direction I thought we were gonna go.
That's what everybody's gonna say when the when the horny robot uprising happens and they come for your door to try and tell you about Hitler.
I'm really sad right now.
And we're just gonna, after the show, we're just gonna talk about Not Quite Justice League. You're not gonna be happy tonight. You're just not.
No.
Give up.
I'm not. I'm getting rid of the picture of Tay, and we need to talk about winding down and going into the Q&A. But listen, guys. So,
Tamergate? I like that.
Stop.
I'm gonna run with that. Tamergate.
Yes, we are about to go into the Q&A time, but I hope that we're gonna tweet about this too in a little bit. After our additional half an hour of Q&A tonight, we're also going to be bringing in Roger of Tainted Reality so that we can have one big, admittedly spoiler-ish group discussion about Batman v Superman, which we all watched last night. We're going to make a clean break in the stream after the Q&A is done, give it a few more minutes to get us all tied in, and then we'll tweet again that we're going back live to have this Batman v Superman conversation. So if you have seen the movie, or if you don't give two craps about spoilers, then feel free to join us later tonight. That's probably going to be closer to 11 p.m.-ish Central Time. So that's just here in another hour or so. But otherwise, if you're here live with us right now, I'm so glad you're able to make it out tonight, because I know this is a weird night. We typically don't stream on Fridays, but I'm glad you're here anyway. And if you're here right now, please stick around. We're going to do the Q&A. I love doing the Q&A with you guys. If you are not live and you're watching this unlive, then typically, our streaming days are on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. We're going to be going back to our regular streaming schedule starting next week.
Or at least until Civil War comes out.
At least until Civil War comes out. So I hope to see some of you guys down here, because it's so much more fun to talk to all these cool people live during the show and during the Q&A session.
Yes, but of course, during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. Over on Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, this has been our special Friday night edition of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again at our regular time next week.
All right, good night.